My name's Taylor Robinson. I'm with Passerelle Investment Company, and I just wanted to start by thanking everyone for the opportunity to be here tonight to make this presentation, and to also tell everyone about Passerelle's commitment and passion for the city of Los Altos. I know that we're a newcomer to the city, but we have come into the city and we've made a significant investment because we believe in the city and we believe in the ability for revitalization in the city. I'm going to speak to a request that was made by Mayor Packard to Jack Baritow in a meeting to look at a garage at Plaza 7. Since that request was made, we took the effort to have Watry put a study together to see how many parking spaces could be allotted for if you did subterranean parking at Plaza 7. And I wanted to share the results with everyone. The total spaces that could be added in a garage of that just in Plaza 7 would be 179 spaces. You would lose spaces on grade. There's currently 116 at grade. You would lose about 20 with the ramps. So you take 20 away from 179. We've sort of mentally allocated 42 spaces for Safeway to try and bring their parking ratio up to 4 per thousand. Then if you took the 100 spaces that everyone's been talking about tonight that have been lost either via the First and Main property or through the improvements in town, what you're left with is 17 spaces for an in-lieu program. Then we took this plan and we put it out to a contractor that I have a good relationship with that we got a price back from. And unfortunately, at this location with the existing utilities, it's $68,000 a stall. So you sell the 17, the city's left with an $11 million that they need to pony up, and the cost for each space is $61,000 per added space as opposed to 13. Thank you.
Wait. Let me first ask a couple questions, and then I'll turn it to you. Now,
I try to get through that really fast.
Yeah, you did. You did a good job. Now, Plaza 7 is across from Safeway,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
And one of the parking studies that we've been conducting is whether or not to put a parking structure there. And James, do you recall what our estimated price per stall there would be? Was that were we looking at a two-story?
Well, there were several alternative plans in the opportunity study. In fact, it's
I'm talking about for Plaza 7. Oh,
right, and that's where Plaza 7 came from, was the opportunity study. So just so the audience knows this too, because we're talking about the need for additional parking downtown. We've acknowledged that over the last several years, that we need to recover the lost parking that's occurred as a result of the development of First and Main, and the parking that's being lost on the streets and as a result of our various streetscapes. So that's roughly 100 spaces. And so we know that we need to recover those spaces, and we know that there's a need for a net new number of spaces, and we're striving more for 100 to 200 net new to have available for an in-lieu program. And in our studies, and we've used Watry parking garage in the opportunity study, and I think there was 5 different alternatives. Some of those alternatives used Plaza 2. Some of those alternatives looked at Plaza 3. Plaza 3 was the most cost prohibitive. Plaza 7 seemed to be the most likely, and they resulted in a net of 200 new spaces.
Now, Plaza 7, would it be 2 stories with 3 layers of parking, or what was the concept?
I believe it was two levels of below-grade parking and 3 or 4 decks above.
3 or 4?
And that was,
it would take up 3 stories?
And it would fall within our height limit.
Okay. Right. And what did you estimate the cost of that structure to be?
Well, it was a fairly complex project because that scenario involved Plaza 1, 2, 3, but the city contribution was about $4 to $5 million.
So I remember Kim said, if you're a creative attorney, you can come up with solutions. If let's just suppose that Passerelle, is that how you pronounce it?
Passerelle.
Passerelle wanted to buy in-lieu parking for some other development, and they had $4.45 million to spend on that. And instead of spending it on this parking structure below Safeway and Jeff's Option E property that they don't want to do, if they were to allocate that to Plaza 7, that would go a long ways to cover that, wouldn't it?
We absolutely have opportunities to partner with a joint project on our parking plazas.
And how many parking spots did you say that would generate?
In addition to replacing the displaced parking and parking the new buildings that would be built in the south plazas, it would provide...
Let's just talk about Plaza 7.
Right, but it's all tied together.
I know that, but it's a separate piece of land. How many parking spots would we get on Plaza 7?
In fact, that is a better way to ask the question. If you separate out, our study has all been based on this joint project, but if you just look at Plaza 7, the number would be much higher, and I could get that number.
Okay.
Because right now, in our study, that number is committed to the buildings as well. But the whole structure was new parking, with the exception of the 130 spaces. No, that number would be much higher than 200.
Okay. So Tyler, you're saying that your analysis is how many layers of parking were you assuming on Plaza 7?
We were assuming just replacing the surface parking based on sort of the feeling we got that people... we just assumed 2 layers below grade and then replacing the surface parking.
Okay, so 3 layers of parking, 2 subterranean, 1 surface layer.
So net 107, net added spaces would be 159.
Yeah, net. Yeah. And your estimated cost was $61,000 per stall.
68. And
68.
I included a map in your packet of the storm drain and sanitary sewer systems that run through the plazas, which is part of the reason why the cost is so high.
Now, did you have some question? Or did I cover it? Okay, thank you very much. Bill?